This is the first podcast of Between the Frames with just me for once. Usually there's like Mike, Liam and Limon, but decided to have Chris, CkCreative in the house. This podcast is probably going to suck starting off because we haven't been talking that much, but hey, we'll just assume it's going to be shit and then it's all up from there. You know what I mean?
Bro, 100%.
Yeah. So how have you been, Chris?
Good.
How have you been?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me on this, by the way.
Anytime.
Actually,
man.
it's very exciting to see you boys start something new.
Yeah.
And it's very different as well, like doing a podcast and kind of having the opportunity to speak your mind and communicate. I know you boys do it all the time. I do it as well with my friends, but nothing's ever documented or shared. So it's very exciting. So thank you very much.
Anytime. How does it feel like being on podcasts? Like, is this the first podcast that you've been on with someone else?
Bro, it's the first podcast I've ever done in my entire life. 100%.
How does it feel?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting. I'd like to hope that because I'm actually aware that, it's being recorded, that it doesn't actually change my reactions or my thought process, because I do want it to be as honest and raw as I can. So I'll try probably focus on doing that, but I'm excited to have a conversation.
Dude, and the thing is, it's interesting you say that, because before you came in, that's pretty much the topic that I want to talk about. I want to talk about authenticity, confidence and stuff, and how you're starting with YouTube and how you're with the camera and everything, talking on camera, doing stuff that's really foreign to you.
Yep.
I really want to dive into those subjects.
100%. Yeah, we can definitely go into it.
Yeah, I think that you would be the perfect person for this.
Yeah. Well, I have just recently started a YouTube channel, so I am facing those kind of barriers of holding a camera to your face and trying to just speak to nothing when you do know that people are going to be able to see that.
Yeah.
It is a crazy thought. Everyone goes through it. I'm just trying to kind of get over those hurdles as early as I can.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's something that even I'm nearly coming up to 3 years of doing YouTube. Even I still go to that stuff, especially when I haven't been in the constant practice of doing the thing, putting myself out there. But anyway, we'll get into that. I think that the first thing that I want to ask is, can you just tell me about, because I feel like my audience doesn't really know you that much.
Yeah.
Can you explain who you are and how you met me and that whole situation?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Chris. Should I speak to the camera? Or
just speak to me.
Okay.
But if you really want to speak to the camera, you can.
Well, if I'm introducing myself, well, you already know who I am. So I'll talk to the audience. My name is Chris. I'm a graphic designer. I've been living in Melbourne my whole life. I basically found a passion for graphic design in year 10 when I studied visual communication design. And then once I found Adobe Illustrator, I fell in love with the creativity aspect. I was going into the library at recess and lunch and teaching myself that. And then as I kind of left school, I was kind of doing just logos here and there, and I was able to kind of grow that into a little bit of a freelancing business. I've been studying for the past 3 years. I had a gap year straight out of year 12, but I've been studying for the past 2. So I'm second year uni graphic design. How did I meet the boys? Well, I am working a part of a business called Custom Promotions, doing a lot of their graphic design, and the boys, especially Mike and Liam, at the time, they were doing photogenic phones, and so they were in the office quite often as well. And there was a little bit of overlap here and there. I felt like I kind of gravitated towards you boys because they were into photography and I'm a creative as well. So very like-minded ideas and conversations we were having. And then Hayden came along slowly. He first came in when he had to basically design some merchandise, and because Custom Promotions does all the printing and I was doing the graphic design, that was the first place that we met. And since then we've been friends ever since. So
yeah, it's been awesome, man.
It's been great.
Yeah. Did you, because before you met me, you'd watched my content beforehand.
Yeah.
So because would you, before you met me, would you call, this is going to sound super egotistical, but would you call yourself a fan of my content before you met me? Or was it more you just stumbled across my stuff and that's it?
I was watching your content probably for about a month prior to actually meeting you. And that was because I was watching Mike and Liam's content before that. So when he met you, I was kind of introduced to yourself just through the internet, YouTube. And then Yeah, you popped up in his videos quite often. I think I started, I subscribed to you early on as well. And then it was kind of that trio that I was just consistently watching videos, just tagging along. And then when I heard that you were coming in and actually met you for the first time, I felt like a little bit of a fanboy, just purely because like I'd been watching you and like you're very good at kind of being authentic on the camera. And so your audience has this ability to create this connection with you in which that like even though they can't actually be there. It's crazy. And so, yeah, it was
like
exciting.
You knew me sort of
I
like
did.
beforehand
I felt like I knew you and you're exactly the same in person. So it was sick. It was cool.
Oh, well, that's good. Like that's one thing that I love to push on my channel is authenticity. If I can be as authentic as possible, and then if I meet a fan or whoever in real life and they say that I'm the exact same as I am, then like job done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, so what was I going to say? So custom promotions, we've been doing merch and stuff together. How has it been like doing like freelance work at custom promotions versus because I know you want to like go into like doing your own stuff as well.
Yeah.
How is like the balance going with like freelance and doing your own thing?
It's very interesting, actually. I've kind of always been in a bit of two minds in regards to my work. Like I love creating my content, and that's how it originally started, just creating whatever I wanted to do and sharing my artwork. And then as I started doing freelance work, I was introduced to the financial and kind of entrepreneurial side of the industry, where I had the ability to actually make money out of what I was doing as well, which was also fantastic. But when you're doing work for other people, you're not actually creating what you want to create. But I was balancing it really, really well, especially during my gap year because I had a lot of time. And so it never really became an issue. But as I started working full-time as part of custom promotions, things like time was limited because I was also studying full-time. And so all of the artwork that I wanted to create, the vector arts that took like 8 to 10 hours became completely redundant. I couldn't do them anymore. And as a result, I was focusing on things that I needed to prioritize, which was the client work and my work and uni. So at that stage, I was kind of like, I actually was getting a little bit upset, especially towards the end, which was about four and a half months into working full time. And I realized that I needed to actually do what made me do this in the first place more, which was create content. And I think a byproduct of hanging out with you boys a lot and seeing you guys interact with an audience and have people that, you know, really value what you do was also probably enticing and a factor that led me to what I'm doing now. But I definitely needed to find that balance again. So,
yeah. So like when you watch our content and stuff, because I know that you want to like sort of go into YouTube as well eventually. Like, do you ever look at our content and you're like, man, I wish that like I could be doing this kind of thing, but I'm like doing this. Like, do you ever like, not even just us, like just other people on Instagram that look like they have like the best lives and they have everything sorted. Do you ever like compare yourself to other people? Do you feel?
Not really, actually. I see you guys doing what you do and loving it, and I see that it's like a very big possibility for me to achieve that.
That's so good, man.
100%. And my mentality is like, start now because in a year's or 2 years time, you're going to wish you started then.
Yeah.
And that's why I just made the decision and just got into it. I'm very, very small now. But I'm completely content with, copying the L's of no subscribers, no likes, whatever. Just to
you
kind
have
of grow
to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and the thing is, it's awesome that you have that mentality because that's the mentality that I had when I started. Like when I saw Casey Neistat, like making a video every single day, documenting his day, I was like, well, if he can do it, like I can do it.
Yeah.
You take inspiration from it. You don't compare yourself. You're not like, oh, well, why can't I do this? So many people have that freaking mentality and it sucks.
It does. No, you're right.
And like, I empathize for those people because like that's like, that can be a whole bunch of like societal conditioning and stuff and the way that people have been brought up and stuff. But I think that where people get caught is when they assume that that's the norm and like they can't do anything about it. But the reality is you can do stuff about it. You just have to make the choice.
100%.
But people don't have that knowledge. People think that they don't have that choice and they can't do that.
A lot of it comes down to like confidence as well. Like actually people being able to visualize themselves in that position. Like I could visualize myself doing what you guys could do without a doubt. Whereas some people can only really visualize themselves sitting here and watching someone do that. And so they don't actually have that urge to go and actually give it a red hot crack themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it just really comes down to not giving a fuck. And
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Liam says that a lot. Like, don't think, just do.
So true.
And actually all you boys, especially Mike as well, he does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to swear on this, by the way?
Yeah. Well, you've already done it.
Fuck.
So
Okay.
yeah, you're like, fuck.
Well, Mike sat in this
man.
chair before, so I don't think it's
fine,
changed.
man.
But
It's
it's
fine.
like not caring whatsoever, doing what makes you happy. And if you honestly, truly do that, then you are going to naturally kind of gravitate towards like-minded people and attract that kind of same idea. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I like you say not giving a fuck, but the thing is, the reality is, it's very like you can't not give a fuck about nothing. Like you know what I mean? Like you always have to give a fuck about something. It's just choosing what to give a fuck about. That's what the whole Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck book is all about. Like it's about choosing what to care about and what not to. But the thing is, sometimes it's difficult for you to be like, okay, I don't care about this, but then actually mean it.
Yep.
Like being like I could say on a daily to myself, all right, I don't care. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me, whether people like me or dislike me. But the thing is, like, me saying that is one thing, but me meaning it is another thing. And sometimes like I mean it completely and I'm just sick of even thinking about it. And that's when I truly don't care.
Yep.
But then there's times when I say it to myself so that I can actually get a better outcome out of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that means that I care about the outcome or like what other people think. So it's like your mind can trick you sometimes.
It's like reinforcement. Like you tell yourself you don't give a fuck so many times to the point where you don't actually give a fuck. But like you're right, everyone does actually care about something. I still care when I'm recording myself. I still take like 10 to 11 attempts at my introductions because something's just not right or I look different, like I look weird. I judge myself and I'd like to think that I don't, but if I do, it's natural.
Yeah. You're your own worst critic.
Exactly. But the idea is to, like what actually helped me a lot is that one take mentality that you told me, like, I think it was a month or two ago, by just like recording yourself. If you say something, you fuck up, then you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep recording because like it's really good reinforcement to just actually not give a fuck. And so it's just the little things that really kind of like improve that kind of aspect.
Yeah. Do you reckon you could also, by the way, sorry,
Yeah.
can you just be a little bit closer
Oh,
to the
like
microphone
here.
when you're
Yes.
talking, just like this?
Of course.
You big goof, Gary.
Yeah.
You do that too well.
Yeah, I know. I know. Anyway.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, so no, it's good, man. And so I have some questions that I wrote down, like with this whole idea of confidence and putting yourself out there. It's interesting that you say that about the one take mentality because I actually, again, took that from Casey Neistat.
Okay.
He only, like in a video by Dan Mace, he did this video talking about like 5 rules of Casey Neistat or something.
Yep.
And one of those rules was the one take only, ever. Ever. And it's hard for people like us, like, well, not even like us, because like, would you call yourself a perfectionist?
I'm definitely somewhat of a perfectionist, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, that's just the creative, artistic ego.
Yeah.
Like that's just your ego wanting to be the greatest artist of all time and people loving your content and stuff, making it as perfect as possible. That's just your ego. And that sucks.
It's like a lot of it. Well, I feel like for me, a lot of it is a little bit graphic design. I was always somewhat of a perfectionist as a kid, but as I do design more, a lot of it kind of revolves around symmetry, balance, the color palettes. Like you've got to get everything almost right for it to look good. And so when I go into creating content on YouTube and stuff, I kind of want to apply that same mentality, but I have actually made an active kind of like an active like thought to just not make it perfect.
Yeah, good.
Like-
yes. That is the key.
And it helps.
The thing is, it's interesting you say that because when you are a perfectionist, you're so much over on. So there's a spectrum. Obviously, with anything, there's a spectrum. There's never black or white.
Yep.
If you're a perfectionist, you're all the way over to this side. You're not over to this side at all. And the problem is with perfectionism is people tend to think that perfectionism is actually excellence, but it's actually a sneaky form of procrastination.
Interesting.
Because people will literally not do something because they'll think that, it needs to be so good and I don't even think they'll be able to do it. So they just don't end up doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I feel like, the core of the reason why most people don't start YouTube.
Yep.
It's because they think that it has to be great and other people have to enjoy their stuff so that they don't get ridiculed or rejected by the criticism of others, so that like they don't like,
there's no start.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
There's
Like
no
that's literally, it's literally, perfectionism is literally like, there's one part of it being like, you might say that it's about the design and stuff, but I truly believe it's about the opinions of other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I believe. And that's because at the end of the day, if no one was watching my stuff at all, like 0 people, then I would just be creating for me and being curious about what I can create. And like, I wouldn't get so frustrated. I'll be like, no, it's not that great, but like, who cares?
It's interesting that you say that. I feel like the way I'm going about my videos right now, completely like 0 transitions. I'm just chucking a fade in between frames just to kind of create that little break. Yeah, between the frames. But like, say if I was to just get 1 million subscribers tomorrow, my next video would probably have heaps of transitions, speed ramping, all this kind of stuff, because I want it to make it good for those 1 million people that now are all of a sudden going to watch my video. You know what I mean?
Do you think that that's what you would do?
I wouldn't, but it's the thought in which you believe that like people kind of create and change things and are a perfectionist because of other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting concept. I'd like to think that I wouldn't do that, but you never know.
It's hard.
You never know.
It can be hard. Like, obviously with my following, like I've built it up like slowly over time. And so I've been able to kind of like figure out like the different things, like what to care about and what not to care about. Cause it's so easy to get caught up in those numbers and like what other people think. And like, if I crumbled under the pressure of over 800,000 people watching like my stuff, then like I would not be a happy person.
Okay.
Like imagine that, dude. Imagine if I put that pressure on myself. 800,000 people.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people.
Like and I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I've got 800,000. It's just because like that pressure can get to a lot of people. Like people ask me like, do you ever get like, does that ever like kind of scare you in a way? Like having that many people watch you? But I actually don't care. Like, yeah, mum just like jumps in the background. She's just like, no, she's gone.
Okay.
Piss off, mum. Even though I live under her roof.
But like you've grown it to the point, like it's gone from nothing, now it's 800. And you've kind of learned and kind of adapted to your thoughts and emotions along the way.
Exactly.
Which is what everyone's going to kind of go through. But you're right. Like it would be hard to kind of identify that, that many people are watching and, having to just kind of be authentic and not kind of change your content just to kind of please everyone's opinions. Way too many opinions.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, and that's why like it would be interesting to see the difference between like where I am at now and like how it's taken a long time versus if I started and then in a week I got to like 800,000 because I've learned so much along the way. Imagine if I just jumped.
Yeah. What do you think would have happened?
I think that like I would not be nearly as equipped to deal with it. That's why I feel like rising to fame really quickly is actually not a good thing.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. Like you see like all these like young stars. I think that fame or getting a whole lot of money when you're really young is not a good thing because you don't know how to deal with it. And even when you're older, like if
you
it
still
happens,
don't know.
Like, cause like even, so when people are older, obviously they have like more life experience and stuff. And so they probably have a little bit more wisdom to cope with that. But younger people they don't know anything.
No.
Like I still don't know anything, but like I know a lot more now than what I did when I was starting on YouTube. Like take people like Justin Bieber. Like when he was nothing and then he became like mega star overnight. Yeah. Like so quickly. Same with like Post Malone and stuff. But Justin Bieber in particular, he went through so much shit.
Really?
Because he was like he was like one of the most like hated
Yep.
and followed people on the planet. He
Yes.
was like an icon to so many people. And he was making really terrible decisions.
He was young.
He was like, I don't know, like 15,
Yeah.
14 or
Yeah.
something. His voice didn't even break
Yeah,
by the
no.
time he was famous. That's how crazy it is.
Yep.
So like he was like crashing cars,
Mm-hmm.
like just getting with girls. Not there's anything wrong with getting girls, by the way. We'll get into that, by the way. I've got some cheeky little
here we
questions
go.
there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but like, and I remember he did a post on Instagram talking about this, like saying like, oh, I when I was so young, like I rose to fame so quickly. And as like a 14, 15, 16-year-old, you have no idea how to handle that stuff.
Yeah.
And like he was a megastar and everything, but the same thing does apply to YouTube and people who grow on YouTube super quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually grateful that like it's happened slowly over time, because I feel like anything that lasts and anything that really matters and that's going to be long lasting happens over a long time.
I think YouTube's a little bit different in regards to like just.
Can you just go a bit closer?
Yeah. I think it's a bit different because you specifically bring out content and attract people and subscribers that want to see your content, that like who you are. And so it's a bit easier to kind of think, well, you know, these guys are sticking around. They're not going to judge me for the muck ups or imperfections that I have, because if anything, they actually appreciate that kind of stuff. So that's what I'd like to think is nice about YouTube in retrospect towards like Twitter or like Facebook, where people just slam you for whatever, which is probably like Justin Bieber's case. So I think a lot of it actually also comes down to external influence. Like if I was just to jump into YouTube without having you boys or my friend Riley telling me and giving me advice as to like how not to care, how to bring out good content, but not the best content, so that you can just bring out more content, just little things like that has really helped me. So, you know, having friends around you that can give you advice, or parents, is really helpful as well.
Yeah, it is. I do agree. And it's very, I think that having a mentor is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it be one person, two people or whatever. I think that like you're very lucky in that, you know, like so many creative, like-minded people like now, as of this year, you've
recently.
Yeah. You've gotten to know a lot more people, which is super rare as well. Like most people go out there and they don't like have any creative friends, and they want to find creative friends, but they don't know how. That's one of the biggest questions that I get asked, like on Instagram and stuff. We'll get to that, but yeah, I think that though having creative friends is awesome and everything, it's something that you just can't rely on either. You can't like that. This is, and it sounds like because you're starting YouTube and stuff, and we're all doing YouTube. Obviously, that has influenced you, which is great and everything. It's awesome. I'm super happy that you're doing it, because I know that you'll kill it with your ideas and stuff and your creativity.
Thank you.
But the thing is, even me saying that, I saw you get happy when I said that.
Yeah.
And as depressing as this sounds, that is something that like you can't be affected by that.
Okay.
As weird as that, actually, no. Let me take that back. When it comes from friends and family, I think it's different. But when it comes from random people, you can't care about it at all. You can be like, okay, like, yeah, cheers. Like, thanks for the, like, I appreciate that, but I don't actually care on the inside.
When people say you're going to do well, or
Yeah.
you're going to kill it.
Yeah, like people will say to me like, oh my God, I love you. Like you're the best and all this. They put me on this massive pedestal, and it would be so easy for it to go to my head and make me feel like I'm on top of the world. But the problem is, if you get high on your own supply like that, I'm using Gary Vee's terms now. If you get high on your own supply like that, then you're going to really not like the negative. You'll resist it so much that you'll be so scared that you will get negative comments that can actually stop you from making content and stop you from being creative. It's something very interesting and something that I've only literally learned in the past like few months, but it's a game changer. And like just you starting out on YouTube now, if there's anything that I could say, is to just not care about positive or negative. You got to be indifferent to both of them, and be like when people say like, oh, like I love your stuff, don't be like, I'm indifferent. Don't say I'm indifferent. Like that's just, you're not a robot. But like, just be like, hey, like I appreciate that. But on the inside, you have that inner confidence in yourself, and that confidence comes from the fact that you've created for a long time and you enjoy it.
What if you are happy because you're not taking their compliment and that's what's making you happy. You're actually agreeing with what they say because you yourself actually believe in yourself, or you also love your own content. You know what I mean? And that's where the happiness comes from.
Yeah. The happiness actually it should come from within, as it is always.
Yep.
It should never come externally.
Mm-hmm.
Externally is like that's just everything outside of you that in terms of happiness is just noise.
Yep.
So if someone like reinforces the fact that like they say that you're like, oh, I love your confidence, I love your charisma and stuff, you don't take that on board because one, you don't care. But then the second thing is you already know that already. So you don't need to even care about it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like saying like if I was a really good tennis player, I know that I'm a good tennis player because I've practiced and I know what I'm doing.
And so if I was to tell you, hey bro, you're a fantastic tennis player, you've already got a little smirk on you. Where does that, like, you know what I mean?
Thanks, brother.
No worries.
That's where I get all my validation.
So would you be happy to hear that because you know you're a good tennis player, or because someone's complimenting your tennis capabilities?
I think that, well, it all comes down to the person.
Yeah.
But if it was me,
What should you do?
Like I would say, like in a social situation, I'm not going to be like, I don't care what you think. I'm not going to say that straight to your dome. Like that's just not what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So I would just say, hey man, thanks, I appreciate it. And then I'll be like, so what are you up to? I just change the subject. Move it on. Like, cause it just, those praise and criticism, especially when it's not constructive, are just destructive.
It just comes down to being humble, I guess. You know what I mean? Just like working hard for yourself because you want to see yourself achieve. And when people around you acknowledge that you're actually getting somewhere with what you're doing and what you're passionate about, acknowledging that, thanking them, but just knowing deep down, and I think this is what you're saying, not actually getting happy because like you're aware of it and it shouldn't really make you happy because you're doing it for yourself. And that's just something that you're just doing. It's platonic.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to say it.
I think I get
platonic.
what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this actually is interesting because you gave me a call last night and you said that you had a good in-depth conversation with your friend talking about how he was saying like, oh dude, I'm meditating all the time now. It's changed my life and everything. And you gave me a call because you know that I meditate and you were like, I just want to like hear your thoughts about it and stuff. And I was like thinking, oh, maybe I'll have a cheeky little podcast with Chris and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So with the whole meditating thing, with mindfulness, this is like the whole essence of yoga. Yoga is not like, some people think of yoga as like you just like do all the poses and stuff, but that's just the physical form of yoga.
Okay.
There's also the spiritual form, which is like the main form of yoga, which is it's like the cessation of consciousness, which means never getting too high or too low. So like with the whole praise thing, not getting too high on your own supply, but also not getting too low with your criticism and stuff, just staying balanced. Meditation is all about balance and bringing it back to what's happening now and embracing what's happening now. So what, So with your friend, he was talking about meditation and stuff, and you said that you were getting a bit excited about what he was saying. Can you like kind of just talk to me about that?
So there's a very close friend of mine. His name's James, and he's never really been into this. I know his mum has been a little bit spiritual and that kind of stuff, but this is the first time I'd seen him in like say a month, and all of a sudden like, the only conversation we really like, he literally called me up prior and he's like, bro, like I know the reason why, like we're so tight, like why we gravitate towards each other. And he spoke to me about all of this, like just positivity, like positive reinforcement, constantly thinking that you can and you will, and it will happen. Something that you want to happen, it will happen. And like literally believing in that. And he was going off and talking about a lot of like things that always happen for a reason. And he went really in depth. I wish I could actually kind of just regurgitate all of that information. But from what I got out of it, he was just with a very positive mindset. You attract positive kind of situations in life, and you know the world kind of almost creates what you want to happen. And obviously that sounds very kind of like crazy almost, but what I got out of it is just really kind of believing in yourself, honestly, like even convincing yourself that it's true, so that subconsciously you do things, or things around you kind of like happen for it to actually lead out in that way. And that specific day, I kind of had a bad day with editing. Things weren't going well and I was a bit upset. And I really liked the thought of, kind of meditating to kind of just get everything out of your head, kind of just focusing on just nothing. Because, I feel like sometimes I literally never stop. And actually, if I was to maybe do that, it could actually be a positive thing, especially for my workflow and how I focus all of my work.
Yeah, I think that focus is like definitely a massive thing that you're training when you're doing meditation, and bringing it back to, as you said, like nothing, like just being cool with whatever is right now.
Yeah.
And also like with the you were saying positive like reinforcement and positive thinking and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that like positive thinking is good. I think that like obviously you don't want to be thinking negatively and complaining and shit all the time. Like that sucks.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that it's not that there's a problem with positive thinking, but I just think that positive thinking is sort of like a quick fix technique, and it's more of a trying to manipulate your own mind into thinking a certain way, which is like, I feel like it's sort of like a form of like not wanting to feel whatever you're feeling. You only want to feel positive, and that can create stuff that's not good for you, because you can start to kind of like resist negative emotions.
Yep.
Instead of actually embracing everything. And like the essence of like meditating is being okay with what is.
Okay.
Like, so if you're anxious, if you're depressed, if you're feeling like absolute crap, or if you're thinking about something that's just annoying you, stressing you out, whatever, whether it be like you're going to get this freelance job out on time or deadlines or whatever, meditating is about being okay with feeling stressed and feeling anxious and depressed and whatever you're feeling. Rather than being like, okay, I feel good. Because I feel like that's fake. And I think like there is like, I feel like there is a little bit of a place for positive reinforcement. Like, as I said, like you don't want to complain, but you have to also not resist the negative parts of life, because that's a huge part of being human.
Of course.
Especially like in doing YouTube, talking on camera, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable. You're not always going to be funny. You're not always going to be entertaining. People aren't always going to like your stuff. But the thing is, the idea is being okay with that.
Yeah, of course.
And rather than being like, okay, I'm entertaining, I'm funny, I'm charismatic, I'm this, and like keep trying to build yourself up, because when you're not that, then you set yourself up for huge disappointment. And that's why a lot of people quit. So
I feel like, as you were speaking, I kind of had this thought, Mike actually, like he quite often says, have a shit one. And he quite means it. He means have a shit one. For the sole reason in which if you have a shit one, then if you can turn that around, then you're going to have a good one. And if you know how to have if you know how to have a shit one, then you're going to be able to have a good one at times. So it's that kind of balance of really, having the negatives to kind of experience the positives.
Exactly. It obliterates all expectation. You know what I think is very weird. And I don't know what, I don't know whether I blame this on social media, whether it be like people putting their lives out there and thinking that there's something wrong with my life because it doesn't like match up to someone else's highlight reel on Instagram or whatever. But people tend to like think that the meaning of life is being happy. And I hate that idea.
Really?
I hate that idea. What are your thoughts on that first?
Well, I, as of recently, have like been following what makes me happy, because I've found, me personally, especially like at school, I couldn't study. I couldn't do maths. I couldn't do English because it didn't make me happy. The only thing that I was good at was visual communications design, because that is what made me happy. And then I took that all the way and continued doing it because it made me happy. And now I'm doing what I do and I love it. And it's all working out because I did what made me happy. And I continue to do that now with starting YouTube and creating content. I enjoy it. And I think maybe just me personally, I really kind of flourish when I do things that I really, really enjoy and that I'm passionate about. What do you think?
I agree. I'm the exact same. I think that, but what I meant by people thinking that the meaning of life is being happy, I think that I mean that like people think that for some reason you should be happy all the time. You should feel good and happy all the time, and you shouldn't feel negative emotions.
Yeah, well, that's unreasonable.
I know. It's just stupid. It's unrealistic and unreasonable, but people have that expectation. Imagine if you had that expectation all the time. You know, you wonder why so many people are anxious and depressed.
Yeah.
It's because like one of the reasons is literally because of that.
They expect to be happy.
They expect to be feeling good all the time. They expect to be confident. They expect to be entertaining, the best of the best, because other people, the only things that are broadcasted in the world that actually get a lot of views and everything is the stuff that's extraordinary. But the reality is you actually don't need to be extraordinary.
No.
Like it's interesting. There's this YouTube channel called The School of Life. I love this shit. I don't know if you noticed, by the way.
What, like just
like the
talking?
whole like talking about like just deep stuff.
It's good, bro. It's good. Keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah. The YouTube channel School of Life, and there's this video. It's called "Why You Don't Need to Be Extraordinary," and it provides an interesting perspective because it says that like society kind of like thinks that extraordinary is good and like you should be extraordinary, you should be the best and everything like that. But the people that are actually psychologically most healthy, like mentally healthy, are the people that are okay with being mediocre. So
interesting.
The people that are like actually that are generally much happier are the people that are fine with what they have.
Yep.
Like grateful for what they have, whether they be. That's why a lot of the people that are famous and like I
was about to say, sorry, like all the social media influencers, they live this life that is just completely fake, and they're trying to consistently appear as at the fact that they got money and they're traveling and they're doing all this, but when in reality it doesn't really actually seem feasible, or whether it's even happening at all. It's just a photo. And I would probably put my bets on the fact that they're not actually really that happy.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on What are your thoughts on David Dobrik?
I don't even know who he is.
Really? You haven't watched his videos?
No.
Okay. What YouTubers do you watch?
I honestly, I watch you, Liam, Mike, and this other gaming channel that I used to play this game called League of Legends. I just watched some highlights from that. That's it.
Really?
That's it.
I feel special.
Yeah.
Nice.
100%. Well, like I don't have time. Actually, no, there's this other channel called CkCreative.
CkCreative.
Yeah. Good pronunciation.
So good. Yeah.
That is interesting. But other than that, I don't really tune into it too much because I don't want to say I don't have enough time, but I'd rather be investing my time elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Who is this David Dobrik guy?
Okay. Well, David Dobrik, I love his content. I reckon he's a really like good creator and he makes some crazy content. But sometimes I think that it can be like I look at some of his videos, I'm like, this guy can't be feeling this good all the time. Like in all of his videos, he's always laughing, he's always happy, and his friends are always laughing and stuff, but they probably just don't have their shit together. Yep. Like that's just the reality of it. And they hang around with people like Kylie Jenner and like these people that are mega famous and stuff. And it just seems like pretty superficial. And the thing is, as I said, I don't know anything. Like David, if you're watching this, like don't shit on me because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But like from the outside point of view, from someone who's actually studied happiness and like social media and stuff, I think the problem is because he's happy and having a good time all the time, I think that in itself can create unrealistic expectations for people that watch that kind of content.
Of course. And that's why I think there's actually this guy on YouTube called Hayden Pedersen.
Here we go.
Yeah. No, in one of your recent videos when you went to Sydney and you were shooting all those cars and stuff, all the boys are having such a fantastic time, and there was all these like Ferraris, Bentleys, $1 million house, and like it was awesome. Everyone was getting around it, and I remember from your perspective, your video, you just weren't vibing it at the time, and like you were honest with your audience, and you spoke to the camera and you told them how you were feeling, and like it almost took just a completely different route. Like, and it was nice to see that. It was really refreshing. I think that's why maybe you've grown to where you are so quickly, because you're so authentic. Maybe you just wholeheartedly absorb all of these ideologies that you explained to me and you genuinely believe them. But I think that's a good example of actually showing your audience that not everything is actually as it seems. People do feel upset. People don't really get into the vibe of everything. And like, yeah, it's normal. It's human.
Well, that's the thing. Like with that video, I was sort of thinking, even before publishing, I was sort of thinking like, oh, like I sound like I'm a bit of a depresso complaining in this video a bit. But I was like, no, this is with my values, because I was being authentic. This is how I was feeling at the time. And I wanted to show people that like, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. If you're not like sometimes you're just not feeling it, as I said, like, and people would look at that and they would be like, oh, like, why is he complaining? He's got Ferraris and Bentleys and all that shit. First of all, I could not care less about cars. Like, I want to get a Tesla, not because I want to get it for the car. I want to get it because it's good for the environment. I care about the environment. Couldn't care less about a car.
Yep.
That's fine if people care about cars. It's just me. I don't. But yeah, I wanted to kind of break away from that idea that you have to be feeling good all the time and just bring it back to like, hey, like I felt like crap. That's just how it was. That was the story.
And then you turned it around.
Yeah, and I turned it around. I literally had some Subway. I was like, arsh, arsh, arsh. And then like that was it. And then I was good.
I put that on my story.
Yeah, it's true. It was like a boomerang. It looked like I was like sucking some. Anyway.
Moving on.
Moving on. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is an interesting topic of, I'm talking and eating.
Yeah.
It's an interesting topic of, positivity and mental health, being happy, being sad. What should you feel? How should you feel? There is really there's no answer. It's just what comes down to you personally. I know you've done a lot of research into it. You've read a lot of books and, you're educated in that area, which is why it's really awesome to actually hang around you, because I feed off that, I guess, personally. Some people don't have access to that kind of influence. And so maybe they don't know, but I'm not saying, your ideologies are completely correct either. No. It really is and does come down to what they believe.
Yeah, each to their own. That's the thing, man. Yeah. Like I by no means I don't know anything. I've done my research.
You know something.
I know some stuff, but like I like to assume that I don't know anything, because then I learn the most.
Like I remember back in school, like I used to fail a lot of things, and I used to always get stressed. I have a twin sister as well, and she used to be like, well, she still is very book smart. Like she is very diligent. She does well in that kind of area of society. And I wasn't, and I had this mentality of like, I used to get stressed, but I said this thing. I was like, we'll figure it out, because we always do. Every time I get stressed about some project or some assignment or exam, I just tell myself that, and within a week or 2 weeks time, whenever it was over, I'd look back on it and be like, well, now it's done and it doesn't matter. So we're all right. You know what I mean? We got there.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how I kind of like dealt with the stressful situations. So.
That's good. I think it's a good mentality to have. Like, we'll figure it out. Because like even saying we'll figure it out is like a spontaneous attitude. And I think that like, do you know Alan Watts?
No.
He's a philosopher.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of his stuff. It sounds like I'm just like the biggest like sort of like life kind of interested coach sort of thing, and I just don't have anything else that I think about.
No, but it's good because you're passionate about it, and obviously you read so much about it, so you've got so many things to say, and maybe like you wanted me to come onto this just to kind of like explain and have an in-depth conversation about these sorts. So it's good.
Honestly, I wanted you to come onto this podcast because, well, like you're my friend and you're like a like-minded creator and stuff, and I feel like we can provide some good value to people and stuff.
Of course.
But I had no idea what I was going to talk about. I was like, yeah, Chris, you come on the podcast, and that was it. I didn't have any preconceived ideas. Okay. I literally came up with the questions like
on the spot
just before the podcast pretty much started. But
that's good.
Yeah, no. Anyway, Alan Watts, he's a philosopher, but like one of his videos that where he talks about some stuff. the idea is having a spontaneous life is like a good life, rather than when you're not spontaneous, then you're very calculated. You're trying to control everything. That's when you're putting up a face in front of people rather than being who you are. Mm-hmm. Like, people who lack spontaneity are the people who are reactive to people around them, and they care so much about what other people think. But like, if you can be spontaneous and you can literally go into things like this podcast, for example, had no idea what I was doing, but like, yeah, I'm just like getting like, oh, like, yeah,
no idea.
Wow. I just like come into it. I have no idea what's going to happen. But as you said, we'll figure it out. I like that so much because of the spontaneity of it.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to talk about on the podcast? We'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah.
I'm going to take that from you now.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's why.
Yeah.
Take it. We'll figure it out because we always do. We always figure it out. Like, there's no point worrying about it and stressing and just having that built up thought, because it's going to get you nowhere. You're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
If you just let it go and just kind of just
go with the flow.
Yeah, go with the flow. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I feel like we need to have more people like that, because you can't be truly creative unless if you're just figuring it out and going with the flow, because that's the essence of being in the moment. The essence of meditation is going with the flow and being cool with whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like right now, if I'm sounding cringy or not entertaining or whatever, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's good.
Because the thing is, doing this podcast, I like doing it because it's fun, because we can get into the flow, into the now, and just kind of like have like a dance with it, like so to speak.
Just like, just touch on different areas.
Yeah, touching different things and just, that sounds a bit weird, but you know what I mean?
It's good though. Like I like a big quality of yours is just like sometimes you randomly just go, Wah!
Yeah, just, well.
And you big goof, yeah, like just little things like that. It's just like so random.
Yeah.
But it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like it means that you're comfortable. It means that you don't actually care and you are genuine. I think a lot more people kind of need to just take that on board. Weird is cool.
Weird is cool. It is. All right. Well, we're gonna do a little game now. Then
Okay.
I've just come up with this on the spot.
Okay. Done.
What's the most random thing that has popped into your mind right now? All right. In 3, 2, 1, now.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Okay,
I was thinking about SpongeBob, but if you say that, I'm here just like shit.
Yeah, you're like shit. What's random? What's random? It's not random enough. It's not random enough.
I've done some cooked shit. I'm an interesting person. Yeah, I'm an interesting person.
You've done some cooked shit.
I'm a very confident and random and okay individual to just be weird and just to kind of just do whatever. I'll embarrass myself to make my friends laugh. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like
it's good.
Yeah, like I'm an interesting. You might need to ask me like a few more questions to like find all out about me. But
of course, I think, and like as you said, like you're fine with embarrassing yourself to make your friends laugh at you.
Yeah,
I think that like comedians or anyone that is charismatic are the people that embrace their negative qualities, aka being awkward, being weird, being whatever, being cringe. Like if you don't embrace that shit, then you're going to be a freaking robot, because everybody's weird.
Yeah.
It's just some people are more comfortable expressing it than others.
As you were saying those and then ended on cringe, I was literally thinking my mates, James, one of them actually, they have a nickname for me. They call me Cringe. Like ChRinge, cringe, instead of Chris.
Yeah.
Because I just say the most stupidest shit, like do the most stupidest shit. And it make them laugh and cringe.
Dude, you remind me of me so much. I feel like that's why we get along really well.
There's definitely some form of like energy. I don't know what it is.
Dude, is the universe telling it? No, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, I'm deep, but I'm not that deep.
I reckon we've gone pretty deep.
I think we've got
like 500 meters below sea level.
500? Are your ears popping from all the pressure in the sea, or like how? What's the lowest that you've ever dove in the ocean?
Oh, like at least 10.
10.
I haven't gone very far.
10 meters?
10 meters.
Oh, jeez.
I reckon.
That's still pretty like
in a submarine at fucking Wet n Wild.
Yeah. Oh, really? What?
I think it was like Disneyland actually. Yeah, they have this like little submarine.
Really?
They take you underwater, yeah.
Yeah. I think that...
Like weird question, but...
Yeah. Weird
What is
cool.
the deepest you've been?
I don't know. I think that, probably maybe about around 10 or maybe like... I think, no, I'd probably like to say maybe like 12 meters or something.
However, that shit interests me so much. Like those YouTube videos that are like, what's at the bottom of the Mariana Trench? It's fuck, what
That's
is
a
at the bottom?
Krassaris video.
Yeah, that stuff. Or what is in space? Like those questions I actually love.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. It's just like the unknown. I'm so curious about it, but also so accepting that we're never going to know. So
yeah, I know. Does that? I feel like that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks so much.
Does it?
As in, I'm so interested in space. Like, if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would figure out either some way to do either personal training or, which is very realistic, and I would definitely be able to do that. But I'm not a realistic person. I'm unrealistic. Or I would be doing something to do with space. Because I freaking love space. I love the way that we have no idea about it, as you said. It's like the unknown. And like if we can go boldly into the unknown, and this is the same with anything in life, that's where like life like truly starts to begin, because you're doing shit that scares you.
Mm-hmm.
The unknown, space is literally like the epitome of unknown, because nobody actually knows. It's the same with the sea. Like we've only explored like 1% of the ocean or something ridiculous.
Yes, literally. No, I agree. Sorry, I can't like get my thought off it. You were saying that it's annoying that you don't really know what's out there.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it frustrates you like because you don't know?
It doesn't frustrate me. I think it's just the fact that like in our lifetimes, I think that it's probably unrealistic for us to go to like all right. I'm just straight up saying it now. We're not going to a different galaxy while we're alive.
No, definitely not.
Impossible.
No.
Like within our no. It's
I think it's unreasonable to even like consider that as something that's ever gonna happen, because it's gonna be very hard, especially as a human civilization. But like from an optimistic perspective, we are at a point in time where we have seen so much technological advancements to the point where we are considering even colonizing Mars, a completely different planet in which people didn't even know existed like 200 or 300 years ago. They thought that something was whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like Tesla, all this kind of stuff, Elon Musk, like it's amazing to be in the era that we're in. And we are going to see so much exciting things.
The seventh era.
Yeah, the seventh era. But I am like so accepting of the fact that like we're never gonna find out why we're here or what the point is. Like, and I don't know, I'm not religious. I like the ideas behind religion, treating someone like you want to be treated, and you know, respect your neighbor, all that kind of stuff. The fundamentals are really important, but the concept of believing in something just to kind of like have peace of mind, I just think that's, you know, bullshit, and just to kind of accept that nothing's actually there and we're never going to know. So just let's move on.
Interesting. Yeah. Would you ever, like if you had the chance, would you ever go to Mars?
No.
Really?
I wouldn't, because, well, CkCreative has a video on it and they say they say it would suck.
Yeah. But like just to visit for a day.
Oh, for a day? Fucking oath.
Really?
I'd go to Mars for a day.
What would you do? Would you take some photos? Would you get some symmetry with the mountains and
probably
shit?
just like, you know what I would do actually?
What?
Interesting. I would bring a canvas and a fucking one of those like art boards and just paint it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd try my best to just
Paint the landscape?
Paint the landscape.
I thought you were a graphic designer.
I am, but like, what am I going to do? Design Mars?
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? It's just a bit like painting. I've never actually properly painted, but I just feel like it has this kind of like vibe, this feeling where, you know, it's authentic, it's gentle, it's
like flowy.
Yeah, and like humanity, like we're so old, yet we're so young, and like painting is definitely kind of something in the past. So if you were to kind of just really try to capture that on a canvas, bring it back, maybe it would be worth millions.
It's a very traditional
What would you do?
art.
What would you do?
Oh, if I went to Mars for a day, well, first off, I definitely would vlog it. Like you'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, true.
That's all right. Are you? Oh, I thought you just ate the whole strawberry, like the top as well.
I did.
What?
You're
like,
Arsh. No, they're too hard to pick off. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I don't know what I would do. Like I would get there, I would like have my bags, I would drop them on the ground. It'd probably be like really dusty dropping on the ground, and then I'd be like, okay, now what? Like, what's something that's like, because first of all, it would be very hot, and I'm really not good out in the heat because I don't go outside too much. That's why I'm so pale. So I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I'd have to get back to you on that one. But yeah, do a live stream. Somehow, if I could get some 4G up on Mars, like that would be mint. And then vlog it, do a photo shoot. Imagine doing a photo shoot on Mars. Imagine the clickbait you could do on a YouTube video, just being like, I took photos on Mars. I did the first photo shoot. Oh, imagine doing a naked model photo shoot on Mars. That just would, there's just no chance that wouldn't go viral. Not that it matters.
Anything that you were to do on Mars would go viral. Anything that you brought back from Mars would be worth millions. It's just one of those things. So we haven't been there, but one day.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Tesla Cybertruck?
Oh, I actually haven't put much research into that whatsoever. It just seems like another one of those kind of like internet crazes. Oh my God, he's bringing out a Cybertruck. Like it looks cool. I saw them put a rock through the window though. That was confusing because I was like, aren't you meant to be trying to sell this product?
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I didn't really watch the video or read up about it. So like it could either be embarrassing for Elon Musk or it could be one of the things like, hey, we're human. This happened. It's a rock and glass. So what do you expect?
Yeah.
What you tell me about it?
I think that was a publicity stunt and they did that for it to go viral and get more views.
That would be really smart and it worked.
I think that's why. I think that they've definitely tested that before. There's definitely no way that they haven't tested that before.
Yeah,
he
true.
definitely threw that into the glass and he wanted it to shatter so they would get more views. Apple did the same thing on one of their things. That it's all to get more views because if that smash didn't happen, people wouldn't talk about it nearly as much. And now look at him. He's like he's already got over 150,000 orders under the way.
Wow.
And that would come down to the fact that he threw that into the glass. Yeah, well, so it's super smart.
We're talking about the guy who's going to take us to Mars. So yeah, it is crazy.
Do you reckon Elon's a good bloke?
Again, I don't know too much about him, but like I like his ideologies. I like the fact that he's very, very like forward thinking and innovative. And I think we need like people like that for the pure fact that there's so many people that don't think like that and just are happy to throw their rubbish on the streets. Me probably being included, if I'm honest. And I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that kind of forward thinking is what we need, especially in this kind of like human race that is going so fast.
What are the chances you think that Elon Musk has an Iron Man suit secretly?
Probably. If I was him, yes.
I think that he definitely has some sort of thing where he just on the weekends he's like I need to get out of the workspace for a bit. I'm getting too stressed. Puts on his Iron Man suit and just goes boom, just like lift off and goes.
No one can.
He checks out Mars and he's just like, oh, Mars is looking all right. It's probably got his own base on Mars at the moment.
He literally is the Tony Stark of our era.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think. Someone had to do it.
Every time you say era, I keep thinking seventh era.
How many seventh eras are there on your on like follow you, by the way?
There's a lot.
I am like a constant watcher of his live streams. Every day, Hayden Pedersen, yep, no worries, in the car, in the toilet, whatever. Yeah. And you always point out all these seventh eras that are just in the comments.
There's 10th era, there's 8th era. There's a lot of eras.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah. What if there was one era that you could choose, what era would it be?
Oh, fuck. To be honest,
the seventh one.
The seventh era. Well, like we're talking like 80s, 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the era that we're currently in because I love technology.
Same.
I love computer games, like all that kind of stuff. It's awesome. But what I've heard from friends, like my Daniel says this a lot, apparently the 80s were really cool.
Yeah,
like
apparently.
Really cool.
That's what I've heard.
Well, I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, well, the same.
Like the music, the whole vibe, like everyone was so connected because, you know, there was no technology. And I really kind of like that idea of just, you know, just being like in an era where there is no technology. It's an actually interesting thought because we are so consumed by it right now that we couldn't even fathom going a day without our phones.
Dude, people say that they need to have like social media detoxes, as if it's like an addiction, which it is. Even for me, I think that I'm addicted to social media.
I'm addicted, 100%.
How often a day do you check your phone?
All the time. I reckon I check my phone probably like 3 to 4 times within the spans of half an hour.
Really?
Just check it. Within an hour, I'll probably have a scroll through Instagram just quickly.
Instagram, every do you check like Facebook, TikTok?
I use Instagram the most. Snapchat fucked off a while ago.
Good.
Facebook, yeah. Facebook I use here and there, you know, events and all that kind of stuff with my socials. But and then YouTube when I get a bit of free time.
Do you have TikTok?
Nah.
Are you going to start a TikTok?
Fuck that.
Why not?
Dude.
Why? Because majority of the content on TikTok is just like cringy.
Well,
people,
look,
like,
I can't cringe
shit.
at it because I've never used it. You're right. But from what I've seen, it just seems like it appeals to the younger audience a lot more with these kind of short clips. If I could somehow integrate it towards like what I do and my work, then yes, sure.
You could.
I probably could. The thing is, like, to take on board another social media platform would just be like silly for me right now because I need to focus on YouTube. I need to focus on Instagram, and I'm kind of pushing Facebook as well at the same time. So, yeah, I maybe not yet, but if I could find a way to make it all work, then yeah.
Because you want to, like, you're just starting out on social, like, obviously not starting out on social media, but like with YouTube and stuff, you want to be building your following and you're starting making videos and stuff. I personally think that it would be silly for you not to do TikTok.
Okay.
Just because it's actually very easy, especially like if you're making videos on YouTube already, you've already got the content there. All you need to do is just slice it up into tiny little 15-second things, put it out there, done. That's what I do. I don't make separate content for TikTok. I just slice up the stuff that I've already got, and it's just a way of putting it up on there. And because it's 15 seconds, you can chuck that up on your Instagram story. You can put it in your Instagram posts. You can put it up on your YouTube story, your Facebook story. You can put it everywhere. So that's still... That little 15-second clip not only helps TikTok, but it helps everything heaps more.
Wow, that's smart actually, yeah.
Dude, it's a game changer, man.
I think it comes down to just actually integrating it into your like everyday life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something different. That's why.
Just to, like, I've got other platforms. Like there's a website called Dribble and Behance. It's they're more focused towards like artists. Dribble is specifically graphic design. And I've got a page on there. I've posted some of my stuff, but like... Again, I need to be doing it more, but I don't because it's just not a part of like my process.
Yeah. Is that a social media thing for like artists?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. For graphic designers specifically, Dribble, it's actually awesome. You get to see like literally like only graphic design, like Illustrator based artwork. So it's all vector art, and you get to see like everyone's like attempt at creating artwork on Illustrator. It's crazy to see like so many different styles.
Do you get like heaps of inspiration from stuff like that?
No.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't actually. I want to more though.
How can you get inspiration more by being like, I want to more?
Stop being a perfectionist. Like currently my feed is so niche and structured towards vector artwork, like portraits, which I fell in love with like a year ago. And I swear to God, it's taken me a year to get out what I've currently done. It's just like, I cock-block myself so hard, bro.
I know.
And it was so frustrating. Literally, I cock-block myself. And when I've promised myself I'm going to get through the whole rainbow because the background's a rainbow color.
It's like a gradient that like fades into every single photo that you
post.
So it
started off with red and it goes from left to right. And then as it kind of goes off the page, another color's coming in. So I'm currently at green. I'm now transitioning into blue, and I'm going to get all the way back to red. And then when I get to red, I'm going to cut it off, and then I'm going to start posting whatever the fuck I want. Anything. More simple shit. All my logos that I make. Anything that I do that is in regards to YouTube or, you know, my freelancing stuff. It's going to go on my page because like you need to bring out content consistently. You have to actually see growth. Plus, I want to show people everything that I do, not just what I like making, which is the vector art, because sometimes I don't get time to make that kind of stuff. So I know Tom Noski's in a similar situation as well.
Oh, I know.
Being such a perfectionist.
And that sucks. Like I feel bad for both of you. Like, as in, you guys might not be like, you might be all right with it, but for me, like, that would do my head in, having to have something consistently so similar.
Yes, yes and no. Like if I could keep it consistent, I would, but life gets in the way. If I didn't have to work, and say this was my only thing, like doing vector art only, there's this guy on YouTube called Chi World. He only makes vector art, and he actually inspired me to do all of the portraits that I do.
Sick.
And it's his full-time job. Like he just makes vector art every single day. He wakes up and makes it, and he's posting this stuff consistently. And like he was able to actually grow quite a good following based off what he does. But I don't have that I don't kind of have that freedom. So I need to kind of adapt to it now and change things up a bit so that I can kind of, just post more content.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting back to like the whole idea of one take only when you're talking on camera. Like now that you're just starting out on YouTube, how are you feeling when you're talking on the camera? Like when it comes out, like, and you haven't been speaking at all throughout the day, how does it feel?
Oh, I actually haven't encountered that barrier, that kind of like talking barrier. I was talking to Mike. I think it was at Liam's party. He was saying like he likes to wake up and just talk or do a live stream, so it works that muscle, and really kind of helps him kind of get in that mood. I haven't experienced that yet, but when I do jump in front of the camera, I like it. I do feel a bit fake. I'm like, "What's up, YouTube? How you going?" I do that kind of like that stereotypical intro. I'm still finding my vibe. I'm still definitely trying to find my character. I want to be myself, but I feel like I'm just hasn't got there yet.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I think I'm doing all right. Like naturally, I'm a confident person, and so I'll talk to the camera and I'll cut it up, and I'm all right with it. So
and that's good. And like sometimes some people it takes longer than others for you to become authentic. Like sometimes I feel fake, like even me, like, but that's just me. Like if I haven't spoken on camera for like all day or whatever, sometimes I'll be wanting to sound like more entertaining or funny or stuff. But it's weird because when I want to sound more entertaining and funny, I'm less entertaining and funny because it reinforces what I lack.
Yep.
Anyway, it's the best when you just let go. Anyway, we've talked about that. What was I gonna say? Yeah. You say that you're naturally confident. Do you think that that's a thing, like being naturally like born with it confident, or do you think that it's your decisions throughout your life that you've made that have made you become who you are?
Fuck, that is a good question, bro. I honestly think I was born with like I'm talking myself up a little bit, but I'm being honest. Like I honestly think I was born with the confidence in which I have. I think a lot of it does come down to your upbringing and your family members, and as you're a kid, I was talking to James about this last night. From the ages like 1 to 7, you're literally just like a sponge and you absorb absolutely everything, and that also includes social interactions and ways to actually kind of like interact with other people. I think maybe a part of it was my upbringing to my parents, but a lot of it is internal. Like,
yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I just feel like I'm okay with doing things that a lot of people are just scared to do.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, and I don't want to, again, sound like I'm talking about myself again, but I think it's like genuinely the best quality to have. Like being able to communicate, being able to like just genuinely converse with other people, like it's called EQ. Like having like a good EQ, I think, is way more important than having a good IQ. For where EQ.
I've never heard of that.
I don't even know what it actually stands for, but it's like intellectual something. It's like your like smartness, whereas EQ is like your social smartness, like how you communicate and talk with people.
Interesting.
I should be curious to see what it actually means, but
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
now.
have a quick look. But it is a thing, and I just feel like naturally I'm a very good at I just feel comfortable with communicating with people. And that actually does play a big role in my work, my industry, anyone's work in anyone's industry, because you need to be able to network and you need to be able to communicate, to sit down at interviews and tell people who you are, what you're about, converse with someone random to maybe eventually work together or, see what they're about. It's so important.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree?
I agree. I think
can't be taught it.
I think that your brain is very malleable, and when you're older, like as you said, like when you're younger, past experiences, like you might have like been speaking. Oh yeah, sorry. EQ, by the way, means it's emotional quotient, a national measure of a person's adequacy in such areas as self-awareness, empathy, and dealing sensitively with other people. So you get. It's pretty much like in reading other people,
yeah,
and like understanding others.
Yeah, I was at a party a few days ago. I was talking to this girl, Izzy, and we were having a conversation about how I felt like that I could read people really well from the first interaction that I have with them. I can obviously not read their mind, but like I can kind of understand who they are and what their motives, just like I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I can't compare myself to anyone else's brain. So
no, of course not. And like when I was younger, I was always like the kid that would just love going up and talking to random kids. Like I would talk to everyone, but that is like in my DNA. I even when I was that young, I just made those decisions, and that has like formed me into the person I am today. But having that said, like there was a time like in Warragul, like I would go out like all the time, and I would be doing event photography. So I would get into the practice of talking with people and hanging out with people a lot. I was super confident, like the most confident person like in around that area, like that, not in Warragul, but like when I would go to a party, I felt like I was the most confident.
Yep.
That's the feeling that I had. And but then when I moved up to the city, I didn't go to like events anymore really, because I was like doing my own thing. I was seeing the boys and stuff, but I wasn't seeing new people.
Yep.
And I realized that like over time, because I wasn't hanging out with new people and like exercising that social skill, I wasn't practicing it, I was becoming a lot more anxious.
Oh, okay.
And I'm generally like a more confident person. But if I'm not working that muscle, so to speak, you do kind of like go backwards a little bit. Even if like when you were brought up like that, that's like how you were. That's just how it is. And that's why like people who get anxious and stuff, like they'd just be like, oh, why am I feeling anxious? It usually is because you haven't like worked that muscle of like acceptance and like putting yourself out there.
Do you feel like maybe it could be because you were surrounding yourself like just with the boys like all the time, and like you kind of only had that one connection with the boys in which you were super comfortable with, but there was no spanner in the works. There was no just completely random character that kind of just made you just think differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the moments when you're with someone where you're not necessarily comfortable with them, and you become comfortable in being in that uncomfortable situation. That's where you make the gains in terms of like confidence. It's like putting yourself out there when you're scared. That's when you become more confident. And now like the more I'm doing like my live streams every single day, the reason why I do it is so I can work that confidence, that courage muscle, that vulnerability muscle, so I can become more confident in front of camera every day. And I feel like I'm way more confident, even doing this podcast. Like this is the 4th podcast that we've done. Did 2 of them yesterday. And I just know that if I can get into the habit of doing them, even if it's just like one a day, one a week or whatever, the more that you do it and the more consistently you do it, you will get better at it. And I literally wanted to do it today because I wanted to be like, okay, let's get back into the practice of doing it. Even though I'm super comfortable like talking to you as it is because you're my mate. Yeah. But it's more the fact that, yes, this is being recorded. This is a podcast. This is going out to the world. Who knows who's going to listen to it kind of thing. Yeah. It's being comfortable with that. That's how you build that confidence.
100%.
But the more that I've been doing that, now I'm feeling way more... I'm getting like nuts stuck in my throat. I'm getting way more confident after like doing that. So... Anyway, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, we went out. So me and Chris, we went out the other night. We went out to this place called Lucky Cock, believe it or not. It's called
luckiest.
CkCreative, the luckiest of cocks.
It's like a rooster.
Yes, a rooster. Yeah, don't get your mind out of the gutter, you big goof, Gary. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so we were there. And what I noticed about you was your ability to just go up to girls and just like talk to them.
Yeah.
You get happy when I say that, don't you?
It's just funny that you bring it up. It's just funny that you bring it up.
No, but like it's interesting because a lot of people are really scared of rejection. Even me, like I'm fine going up to girls and talking to them, but sometimes I'm thinking, okay, like what should my line be? And I'm like thinking about it. But that's like all like quick fix manipulation.
Yep.
How do you go about like when you're going up to a girl? Like, do you ever get scared? And what's your like approach kind of thing?
Sometimes I don't. I do. Sometimes I go up to girls. Sometimes I don't because I'm scared. 100%.
Yeah.
But when I'm feeling good, I'm with the boys. and it just kind of just clicks. You just get this burst of confidence. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I get that. I probably get that more often than some do. Then yeah, I'll just go up and say hi. If it doesn't work out, they're boring. A lot of times they are. Girls judge quite a lot, especially at bars. Because you know what? Fair enough. They probably get it all the time.
Yeah, it's fair. It's not just girls though. Guys judge a lot as well.
Yeah.
But if you're going up to talk to girls, they can be like, ugh.
Well, it's usually the guy that'll go and confront the girl, so they'll probably be used to it in a club situation or a bar. But you know, sometimes it works out. Especially when I drink, I get very confident. I just do whatever and have a great time. But in saying that, like, we were all out together and we were all having a good time. Like, Mike brought the camera. Yeah. He wasn't even drinking. He was full sober and he was recording everyone. Like, that confidence, I feed off that as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, like, the whole energy really kind of depicts on really what I want to do. But yeah, I like to have a good time.
Would you ever like go up to a girl even if you were scared? Like, if you weren't feeling it, would you go up to her?
That is something that, like, I haven't actually really done. Like, sometimes I've seen a girl and I've been like, wow, she's fit. And I'm like, Riley, my mate Riley, or you know Riley, he'll be like, go speak to her. And then I'll be like, nah, like, what's the point? Like, she's too hot, whatever. And they'll be like,
yeah.
He says the word, he's like, don't be a bitch. And I'm like, fuck. Yeah. when he says that, then you got to go do it. But otherwise, like, sometimes, sometimes I do bitch out, 100%.
Yeah, and it's good to know that because, like, when I went out with you that night, I was like, holy shit, like, this kid is the most confident kid that I've ever met. I agree. And, like, sometimes, like, I get that feeling and I bitch out as well. But I feel like it also depends on the situation. Like, if you're in a club, it's probably a lot easier. But, like, if it's out in public, for example.
That is a different
That's,
question,
like, next level.
That is next level.
Have you ever done that before?
No.
Really?
Never in public have I gone up to a girl in which I thought was attractive, didn't know her, and actually just start a random conversation.
Actually, I've actually done that before.
Wow.
Like, in Dubai, I did that.
Okay.
And this is a horrible story that's probably gonna, like, haunt me for the rest of my life. The fact that I'm putting this out there, but curious. Hey, all pushing being weird and authentic. This is what happened. Internet, you can crucify me for this. I don't care. Just do what you want. Anyway, so what happened was. Yeah. I was in Dubai, just outside the Burj Khalifa, literally the tallest building in the world. And I saw this girl and I was like, oh man, that girl, I said this to Liam. I was like, dude, that girl is so, like, good looking and stuff. I don't know whether I should go up to her and get her number. And he's like, oh, dude, just do it. And he, like, grabbed me, turned me around and pushed me. I'm like, okay, well, he's literally pushed me. Like, I'm not going to bitch out. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
I was like walking up and I was like freaking out. Like, I was like full shaking because I'd never done this before. Yeah. But then, like, and she was having lunch with her friend. Oh. And so, like, she wasn't by herself. Yeah. Like, so it was, like, even more daunting. Anyway, so I went up to her. I was like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, hey, what's up? And I said, oh, like, I was just wondering, like, if I could get your number. Yeah. And, like, I said it like pretty confidently.
Yeah.
Because I knew that there was no going back.
Straight up, no, like, prior conversational.
No, I just said, hey, I was just wondering, like, if I could grab your number.
Yep.
And she said, like, oh, like, I do you have, like, Instagram? Like, do you live in Dubai? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I don't live in Dubai. And she's like, oh, do you have Instagram? And so, like, I got her Instagram and stuff. So I actually succeeded. I didn't get rejected.
Oh, fantastic.
I felt bad for her friend because it's like, it's kind of an awkward situation because, like, I'm not asking her. I'm asking that girl instead.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. Man wants what he wants. So I got it. That's all good. It was really good for my confidence. But then I went back and then I looked at her Instagram and stuff. And it said that she was 15.
What?
But she was one of those people that looked like she was easily over 19. And, like,
jail.
I know. And that's the thing in Dubai, that would straight up be jail.
Yeah.
Jail time. If you get, like, it's something like if you're not married and if you have sex with a girl, then, like, you go to jail.
A lot of things. You drink, drugs.
Yeah.
They're tight over there.
Yeah. And drone flying as well.
Wow. Actually, same thing happened to me a couple of nights ago. Literally.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, she was okay. Yeah, tell me a story.
Yeah. So I was at a bar. I was having a work party with my old work colleagues. I used to work at EB Games.
Yeah.
And we're having a great time. And, like, my mate came up to me and was like, bro, like, there's a few hotties in here. Like, you know, like have a look around, have a scout. I know you got it in ya. And I was like, fuck it, why not? I'm gonna have a little scout. And there was this one chick, and she was like, she was my type. Like, she was definitely my type. And she was just sitting there on a table on her phone, and I was like, come on. So I went up to her, and I was like, just like, kind of like, you know, obviously made a presence. Then I was like, hey, how are you? And actually, I didn't even say that. I was like, hey, how good's being antisocial? I said
good.
that straight up.
Yeah.
Straight away, phone down. And we started talking, we had a good talk, like, you know, had a good chat. And then she's like, oh yeah, like I'm looking to study this when I leave school. Red flag. I was like, what? Anyways, I asked her how old she was. I'm like, surely finishing year 12. Like, surely. She was finishing year 10. She was 16, bro.
What do you mean?
She didn't look like she was. Yeah, bro. She looked like she was my age, if not older. It was crazy.
Is she one of those girls that was like really developed? Like in the boob and the ass area, so it makes them look older?
Yes. And like her hair would, I don't even know how she got into the bar in the first place, but I gave her my number anyways. I was like, text me in 4 years.
Did you actually say that?
Yeah, I was like, you're lovely. I think you like, I can't even say that. Like, I think you're cute, but like, just text me in 4 years. Fucking Victoria, please coming after me.
Yeah. I love this about podcasts because it's just unedited, it's raw, it's uncut. So like, there's nothing that's more authentic than podcasts. Like, podcasts really expose who you are. Like, trying to put up like a face and like be inauthentic is difficult on a podcast and would take way too much energy. So I'm like, fuck that shit, man. Like, this is just how it is. This is what it's like hanging out with Chris and
100%.
Hayden.
It's good to be honest as well.
Yeah, it is good.
What's next?
I don't know. I'll have a look at the questions. I don't think that
I'd be curious to see what some of your
the audience
would say.
Should we do some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, especially have a look at some of the ones that well, if they're targeted at me, because I know you tagged me. If there's any related to graphic design, I'd be more than happy to kind of
interesting. Okay,
have a look.
Okay, let me have a look. All right, so I'm gonna do a rapid fire.
Okay,
so
we'll
just
go.
Say it really quick. Quick answers, and then move on to the next one. Okay. Started my Instagram a few weeks ago. How do I grow it?
Consistent content.
Yes. Is going to uni for graphics design worth the time and money, or can I get a job without a degree?
If you have a really good portfolio, then maybe. However, it will help you tremendously if you have a piece of paper.
Yes. How to start graphic design? Probably the 100th time this was asked. Well, this is the first time. Yeah. How do you start?
Honestly, YouTube tutorials, Adobe Illustrator. Learn the software, get into it, and then you can start to learn a little bit more about the design principles and elements that, you know, really come together and help you create good cohesive design.
Great. Okay. Wait, what software do you use?
Adobe Illustrator every single day.
Okay. How much can we expect merch to cost? So they're talking about my merch.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to try and answer that?
Yeah, just guesstimate.
I think around $65 to $70, depending on
Australian.
Yes, I'll say 65 to 80, just to kind of cover my ground, depending on which design. The one with the vinyl on the sleeves will cost more than the others.
Yeah, because the more designs that you have on the sleeves and stuff, like it just costs more. What got you into graphic design?
Creativity. I liked drawing. I found out what Adobe Illustrator was, and ever since I started doing tutorials, I just loved that vector kind of vibe. Yeah.
Sick. What inspires you?
Oh, what inspires me? Oh, success.
How do you define success?
I define success as doing whatever I want to do 100% really well and achieving that. That is what I call success.
Interesting. Okay. Are you going to make an add more blues jumper? I think he's talking about 7-0.
Oh yeah, probably.
Like boost the blues.
Boost the blues. That's
up to 7-0 to design.
Good idea.
To design that. Okay. How to get the most out of social media and how to monetize your work as a graphic designer?
Oh well, I haven't been able to monetize my stuff yet because I'm so small on YouTube. But what was the first part of that question?
The first one is how to get the most out of social media.
Be authentic, show your face, ask questions, interact with your audience, and honestly, just post as much content as you can, and you need to love it.
Yeah. I think and adding something into that, don't try too hard to be authentic, because then if you have that desire of being authentic, that can reinforce the fact that you're not being authentic. So it's a weird thing, but like just let go of everything and just whatever you say, you say.
It's hard.
That's what being authentic is. Okay.
Can be like something like more general as well, not specifically about design. They are fun to answer though, bro. I can't wait till I like am able to ask and answer questions to like an audience that has a vested interest in what I do, bro. I love it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on NoFap?
Fucking not gonna happen.
You haven't done it ever?
No.
Wow.
NoFap November.
Yeah.
Bro, I haven't even thought about it. There's
Really?
no way it's happening. No way.
Really? What's the longest you've gone without fapping?
Like 2 days.
Really? Holy shit.
Fuck, that's on the internet now. Yeah.
No, it's fine, dude. It's normal.
Bro.
It's like most people like do it like nearly every day. Like I've gone like a solid 70 days without doing
What?
it. Yeah. Yeah.
That would put your mind to it though?
I put my mind onto it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. I worked my self-discipline muscle like a motherfucker, which was awesome.
That's crazy.
It actually, I did have like benefits, which is something that...
Is that the point of it? Is that the point?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's to like build your self-discipline. You start seeing like girls more for who they are rather than for their looks, and like it's like on dating apps when you go on Tinder and you're literally basing the girls off just appearance, and like that wires your brain to only care about appearance, which like that's so bad. Like,
yeah.
I know, like people can argue like it's a natural tendency and stuff. Like it's fine. Obviously, you're going to be attracted to what you're going to be attracted to, which is all cool and everything. But I think that it's a problem when people are really shallow and like that's all they care about.
But like the first point of contact is appearance. So.
I know it is, but like when you meet someone, say at a party or something, you're not going to like their appearance might lure you in. You might be like, okay, I want to talk to this girl because like she's good looking or whatever. But then like when you actually get talking to her and when you're actually like, yeah, you know what I mean?
100%.
Okay. All right, we'll do one more question.
Yeah.
Would you consider making the Japanese text a smidge bolder? I think he's talking about like the ones on like the sleeves. I reckon keep them the same. I reckon it looks fine.
We could test it out and have a look. We'll test it out when we make the prototype. I'll just mock it up a bit and we can have a look.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I reckon we should like wrap up the podcast there. That was heaps of fun, man.
Bro,
Did you have fun?
I had a great time. I was a bit nervous at the start. I was sitting there like this, but like as towards the middle point, I completely even forgot it was recording, man. I was looking at you just like listening about what you were saying and like really trying to think about like how I can make this like really constructive and provide value. So like, bro, thank you so much.
Anytime, man. Yeah, that's like all about like mindfulness, like being mindful in the moment and just listening to what the other person is saying rather than thinking about your response all the time. Like, and that's sometimes happens to me, but like if you can practice, the more you practice being in the moment and actually listening and just being immersed in what you're doing, you'll have more fun because it's about the experience. It's not about making something that's good or entertaining or providing value. It's just about having fun with the experience at the moment. So I'm glad that you had a good time. CkCreative. If you haven't followed CkCreative on Instagram, definitely do that. Cheeky little shout out. I know like you want to get started on like social media and stuff and like when you actually start like putting out content, I'm so keen for it. What are your plans for the future with YouTube?
So I have before we wrap it up quickly, I guess I have three main forms of content that I want to provide. I want to provide tutorials because I really want to teach people what I know. That is like something that would make me really happy.
Yeah.
I want to be able to create speed art of whatever it is, whether it's my vector art or whether it's just any form of logo. And they kind of go hand in hand as well, especially with my client work. So client work is another one, showing people how I go from start to finish when I make my initial sketches to when I send them the final designs, because I feel like people could take a lot of value out of that. And I also kind of want to do what you boys do, which is just go out, take a camera, go do cool shit. But I'm going to to add a little thing on the end of it. I'm going to do photos. I'm going to do photography because I do love that. But I'm also going to add vector art on top of that photographic image that I've been going out to get.
Sick.
So vlogging
I
experience.
love that idea. Yeah. I think that's really cool because that hasn't been done before. Hopefully the people who are listening right now don't start doing it and then just take your own thing. But no, like I think that's really cool because it's something that, it's a niche and that's what like makes you unique and different from everyone else. Especially the fact that like if you can like get to that point where you're being more authentic and like not saying you're not now, but like obviously at the start, like it's going to feel weird, but you're only going to get more and more good at it the more you practice. 100%. So it's all up from here, baby. Just all up. Always assume that you're going to suck, but then like it's always up from there.
You have to practice, bro. You have to practice.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of the podcast. I don't know. Usually Limon is the one that kind of like signs these off, but I'm pretty sure he says something like, this is Between the Frames podcast. If you want to follow us, we're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on what else?
Amazon?
Amazon, I think. Maybe I should have done this research. I'm such a big goof, Gary. Anyway, I don't know what else.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Hayden Pedersen. Check out CkCreative. And thanks. And I'll see you in the next one. Nice.